Okay guys, so this is the next video you've been waiting for, which is resetting a 5 terabyte drive. You can see here I have the Xbox One with the 5 terabyte drive. Now, future me has already gone through this process and seen exactly what happens and how to basically resolve the issues that come from actually resetting the drive. So to save you a load of time on even watching this video at all, if you came here looking to see if you can actually reset a 5 terabyte drive or 4 terabyte drive or a 3 terabyte drive, or basically a non-standard drive, a non-500 gigabyte, 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte drive, you can't reset it without having to do a few extra steps to get it working again. So only reset a non-standard drive if you really have to, basically. Okay, so that being said, in order to recover a drive after you've reset, a non-standard drive, there's a very important step you want to do before you actually do the reset itself. Okay, so let's say you're doing a reset because some of the games are broken, or you want to get rid of some of the accounts, or you just want to clean up the drive in general. That's fine, but you really need to back up a portion of your drive before you actually do that. And that doesn't include the data or user profiles or anything like that. What it includes is the system update partition itself. You need those system update files to easily rebuild the drive again. That will avoid you having to go and download OSU 1, and that'll help people who are on the preview dashboard and using a dashboard which is newer than OSU 1. And if they reset the drive, they'd basically make their Xbox One unusable. So this is a very critical step. Okay, so what we're going to do here is shut our system down, and we're going to pull out our 5 terabyte drive, and we are going to attach it to our Windows PC, and we're going to be using our SATA 2.5 inch connector here to USB 3.0. Link will be in the description of where to buy this. I've shown it in quite a few other videos. So we're going to come over, let's close our AverMedia here, and let's bring up our disk management, over here. Bring up disk management so you can see the drive showing up on our Windows machine here. Okay, so I'm going to close down this window here because you don't need to see, you want to see the full screen here. Any moment here, our 5 terabyte drive should show up. And there we go. Okay, so we can see here's our user content, our large user content partition in the 5th partition location. Now, I've already done this process earlier, but I realized in my video that I had the screen open where you could see the contents of my Xbox One system, and you missed a few of the links or couldn't see some of the things I was clicking on. So in order to do this next step, you need the latest version of my script, and the links again will be in the description, but I have basically I've updated it from 6.0 to 6.1. And the link for a file trip will be here. You just click the download file and you download it here, or you can use my link to my Google Drive, and there's two here. There's the old 5 version, but there's a newer 6.1 version. That's the one you want to download. So you right click it, select download, and you just download it. I'm not going to do either of those because I already have it here on my desktop. Okay, and basically once you've downloaded it and put it on your desktop, or you can do this in your downloads folder, you use 7-zip to open the archive and then extract, and then what you want to do is extract it to basically, if you hit extract here, it'll extract it right to the same desktop location where the zip file originally is, and that's what we have here. Okay, so what basically we want to do is we'll open here to our path to where we have our basically our downloaded script and where we unzipped it to. Want to right click it, copy, and for me I find it easier to then open a command prompt from somewhere else, and we want to allow permissions, and we want to type cd space, and we want to paste in our location for our script. We do a dir here, we can see all of our files here. So basically we want to run the create. So I start typing the script, hit tab. Want to run our script here. And let me show you the wonderful new feature that we've added. Oh, and something to point out here. In our Windows directory, we actually have there's a new folder in here called System Update. You can also see I have a system update before and after. That was some of the testing I had done for the update I had done in my prior video for the 5 terabyte drive update. So I did a before snapshot of system update. Basically, you can see the B here dates all the way back to November. And then I did a snapshot of the after. And here's still our 12/11, but now B is updated with our newer February 1st update. Okay, so what we're going to want to do here is we're going to see what fills up in here. So basically with our new script here, I've added a D selection. I added a new selection ID, and I pushed down the check all partition file systems and wipe the drive. I pushed those letters down. But anyways, we in this case we want to back up our system update partition. So we're going to hit D. And again, this is going to get any kind of preview dashboard or anything like that. But if you have a working drive, this is critical to do before you do any kind of reset. And it's maybe something you want to do every once in a while anyways, although it's a pain in the butt because you got to take your system apart. Anyways, let's do disk 3, which is our 5 terabyte drive here. And you can see it actually starts doing a copy process. You can see here it's backing up the X drive. Here's our A folder that it's doing first. And I've changed the robocopy command to show percentages now, so you can get an idea for how long the process is going to take, or at least you get that reassurance that it's actually doing something. Now we're onto our B folder. Okay, there you go. So that's it. So we hit space to finish up the script. But yeah, so there we go. That's done. Let's scroll up here a little bit so you can see the result. If you scroll up a little bit, you can actually see the copy result. All the files that it copied. And everything appeared to be okay. There's one skipped in there, but if we go back over to our system update, in that Win partition where we have our script that we downloaded, now the system update has those files from our Xbox One drive. And later on in this video, after we do the reset, I'm going to show you how to utilize these files to get your system back up and running again. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that process really quick. And let's get to actually resetting the 5 terabyte drive, and we'll show you what happens. So let's go to Past Me, and we'll show you that process now. Oh yeah, and one last thing. Don't forget to safely remove our 5 terabyte drive before putting it back into your Xbox One. Figured I'd add that in there. You can see we have our 5 terabyte system here, and today we're going to actually reset it to see if it survives a reset. So the first thing I'm going to do is start up, show you the condition it's in, show you that it's working, show you that it actually is a 5 terabyte system, and then we'll go from there. Now, admittedly, this isn't my favorite thing to do. A while back, over a year ago now, I made a video about how you shouldn't reset your system. I still believe that it's a chance that you'll cause problems when you reset your system, regardless of the type of drive you have in your system. And I recommend, if you're not selling your system, or have a reason to completely clear it out, to just delete games individually and remove accounts individually. It's just a safer thing to do. The reason I'm making this video in the first place is that in the past, making non-standard 2 terabyte drives, which now we make standard 2 terabyte drives, we make standard 1 terabyte drives, so they're drives that you build from scratch and migrate your data over, and they work fine and they're resettable. These new 4 and 5 terabyte drives, or potentially 3 terabyte drives, may or may not reset. That's what we're going to see here. So here we go. Let's get our controller going. Okay, there we go. And we're going to go into settings. We're going to go down to system. I'll show you the storage here. So you can see again, it's our 5 terabyte drive. We're going to go to our system info. I just want to show you the OS version we're at so you can get a baseline. And let's start a game. So I'll do, been alternating, I'll just do Game of Thrones here just for the heck of it, just to show you that the game starts. There you go, there's the game loading up. So now let's see if we can actually reset it. Okay, so move this up a little bit. So in case you're not familiar with resetting your console, it's under System and then Console Info and then Reset Console. So we're going to select that. Now there's 2 types of ways to reset your console. One is to reset and remove everything, and the other is to reset but keep games and apps. It'd probably be best to, let's just take this off here. This gives you a full idea of what we're doing here. Basically it says if you reset your console, it will restart, erase all accounts, save games, settings, and home Xbox associations. And then so the option then is to whether or not you want to keep your games and apps. So for the first reset here, and if it doesn't work, you can pretty much tell that the other one won't work either. We're going to actually attempt to keep our games and apps. And if that actually works, then we're going to try a reset and remove everything. Here we go. We're going to reset it. Gotta admit, I'm a little bit nervous. Bring up the camera here just so you can see if it actually resets. So far we got a blank screen. Don't know if it's actively doing something. Okay, the screen just got darker, if you can see that. That might mean it's actually restarting. Okay, this is usually when it actually starts to remove data. Slide this over here so you can see all the text. Okay, not sure how, oh, there we go. Okay. No surprise there, we got an error. So, just for the heck of it, I'm going to force it to do a quick restart just to see if we get the same E102. And if we do, we'll actually pull the drive out, hook it up to our Windows 10 system, and see if we can see what happened. Okay, back to E102. So it looks like non-standard drives will have trouble resetting. So let's see if we can see what happened to the disk, basically. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come over to our Windows machine. So let me slide this over here. And we'll actually pull the drive out. I haven't reset a system in a couple of years. If I had systems that were non-standard 2 terabyte, which I did up until about, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months ago. So I was aware that there'd be problems, so I wasn't resetting systems. It looks like that's still the case with these guys. So if you had to reset for whatever reason, maybe the drive isn't working, and basically you want to get your system back up and running to be with the 5 terabyte or 4 terabyte drive, we'll try to give you a solution here. Okay, so we've attached the drive to the system here. Let's see if we can get an idea for the formatting. Okay, so immediately see here there's some problems with some of the partitions. Let's see if we can get Explorer window opened up here. Interesting. Not really sure why we have 2 drives there. Let's refresh this. We got 2 disk 3s. That's kind of unique. Can't say I've seen that before. All right, let's try opening that up again. Okay, yeah, it must have been some weird thing there, but okay, so what we can see here is, okay, all right, so we can see what happened here. Sorry, it took me a little bit to comprehend everything going on here. Okay, so after the reset, it looks like it attempted to basically reformat the drive or repartition the drive as a 2 terabyte drive. Not a surprise at all, as you saw in my creating a 5 terabyte drive video that basically I showed you, well, basically I suggested selecting auto size has a 2 terabyte disk. So when we reset the 5 terabyte drive, that's exactly what the Xbox One attempted to do. It attempted to force the drive back to 2 terabytes. In so doing, it seems to have been unable to partition the other drives correctly. Okay, so basically what that means is we have a drive with no data left. Fantastic. Okay, now what do we do? Well, the quickest way to get things back up and running again would be to format the 5 terabyte drive as a 2 terabyte drive. The problem with that is now you're wasting 3 terabytes. But if you don't have another drive, that may be your only option. That being said, the right thing to do in this particular case is to get your system back up and running again. It doesn't matter with what, if you have a 500 gigabyte drive laying around, a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte drive, or something larger. But basically you want a drive that isn't your 5 terabyte drive, because you want to get that drive up and running and then copy that running data back to the 5 terabyte drive. So basically you're starting over. So you're doing the process of taking a working drive and upgrading it to a 5 terabyte drive, which is a video I've already created. So what we need to do here is get the system up and running as fast as possible. Now, I already took the liberty of doing a few things. One is I used my script to copy the 5 terabyte drive to a 2 terabyte drive. And I made that 2 terabyte drive a standard drive. But because the system is actually reset now, the data on that drive is invalid. So my thought is to use another functionality, or I used a different functionality of my new 6.1 Windows partitioning script, which is to back up the system update partition. So let me show you here. So if you go onto my desktop here and we go to my script files, I created a system update before I did the update. So my last video was actually showing you updating a 5 terabyte Xbox One drive. And after I did the update, I made a backup copy of system update. So we had the original, or the prior update of 12.11, and then we had the newer update that we did on February 1st. So I have all the system update files that I need to actually get the system back up and running again. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. This drive is basically useless now. As you can see, it destroyed 3 of the partitions, and we have a improperly labeled system support partition, which actually should be your user content partition, which is not what we want anyways. So as it stands, this 5 terabyte drive is useless. So let's basically reformat it or clean it up. And it's this folder here, and in this folder has the newer version of all our scripts and all that. So the first thing we're going to do here is right click our create Xbox drive.bat. We'll say run as administrator and give permissions. Okay, so everything passed. This doesn't do us any good, so let's get rid of our camera view there. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to basically just blank our 5 terabyte drive. So we're going to click this window, and we're going to hit space. Okay, we're going to hit F because this drive is completely confused. So we're just going to wipe it. We'll select F here though because we want to basically clean up disk 3. Now you also notice here I took away the whole 0 option, so now you can actually select this 0, which you couldn't do before. It was a safety precaution so you wouldn't accidentally delete C, but let me show you that really quick too. So at this point now our 5 terabyte drive should be empty. As you can see, it is. Okay, so let's open another command prompt, and as you can see that I right click the icon, said run as administrator. We always want to make sure we're running as administrator, and I want to copy our path here. And in front of that, let's put a CD. Okay, and I want to actually run the script this way because I want to show you what happens if you try to pick your C drive. So in a moment here, we're going to actually rebuild the drive, but let me show you what happens if we select A, and then this 0 happens to be my C drive, so I'm going to select that. And you can see here it tests to see if the selected disk contains C, and if found to C on selected disk cannot continue, meaning that it's actually your boot disk, it's your Windows drive. So it will actively look for it and not overwrite it, which is a good precaution to take. Okay, so now we have our empty drive in the system, our empty 5 terabyte, and what we need is another 2 terabyte drive. So let me grab that out of the cabinet here. Okay, so I have a Samsung. I don't know if you can see that. It's basically it's a 2 terabyte drive, And this is a standard HDD drive. It's not a SSHD or an SSD. It's an older school drive. And you don't need a 2 terabyte drive. You could use a 500 gigabyte drive. You could use a 1 terabyte drive. But either way, what we're going to do is we're going to format this, and we're going to move over that backup we made from the 5 terabyte drive and get our system up and running again. So we're going to come over here. Let's see, I need... Okay. Again, for this process, we need to have a method of hooking up 2 drives to a Windows computer at the same time. So I have my usual SATA 2.5 drive connector to USB 3.0. Links for purchasing one of those will be in the description of this video. Okay, so let's come over to our drive. Now again, we have this drive's already formatted, already has data on it, which is showing up as W, X, Y, and Z. Let's see here. So our user content is empty. Interesting. All right, so I don't have anything on this disk. So let's pretend this disk was blank, and we're going to reformat it, which is what we're going to do anyways. But we're basically going to get it back to this state again. So let's come back over into our script here. And we're going to select the 2 terabytes. So we're going to basically select the A option here. So we don't have any data to copy this time. We just want to make a standard drive. So hit A on that. And we want to select disk 4. You can see there it does the test to make sure it's not your C drive. And you see it actually already has everything proper for a 2 terabyte drive, but that's okay. We're going to continue to erase it anyways. And we're going to select C, 2 terabyte standard. So you can see that really quick. It blanks it out before it actually re-adds the partitions. The partitions should show up any minute there. There you go. So you could use this video as a guide to basically creating a new drive. And keeping a backup of that system update partition is great for people who are in the preview program and they have basically a system update version they can't get from the OSU 1. In fact, it's important that they back that up whenever they have the chance. Basically, they back up their system update partition if they have any plans for upgrading the drive or think they're having some problems with their drive. It's pretty much critical because without it, you'll have to wait for the next OSU 1 update to surpass the development console or development dashboard version. Anyways, so there you go. So we got a 2 terabyte drive. Everything looks good. Press any button to continue. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take our system update after. So this is basically the update that we did in our last video. And what we want is to copy all this. So we're going to basically click the A, hold down Shift, and then click the bottom guy there. Right click, say copy, and we're going to want to put all this into our X drive, our system update drive, which is here. Copy that in. Okay, so there we go. So we basically have an empty 2 terabyte drive with the system update files prior to actually resetting our system. So with that, we hope to actually be able to rebuild our drive here. So let's bring up our window here, and what we're actually going to do is disconnect our 2 terabyte drive, and that's this guy here. Okay. So now we're gonna let's see. Okay. So now we're going to put our 2 terabyte drive into our Xbox One here. And bring up a capture, and let's see where we go from here. So with the 5 terabyte drive, we were getting an E102. So let's see if we are still getting that error or actually able to get this to work. Again, the only thing on this drive is the data from the system update partition from the 5 terabyte drive prior to the reset. Okay, so we of course don't have our 4 terabyte drive anymore, but we got the 2 terabyte drive. And although it is an official 2 terabyte drive, we're going to have to set it up for the first time and then use the process in my earlier video, 3 videos ago, which will be linked in the description, to then take their 2 terabyte build. But again, you could use a 500 gigabyte drive or a 1 terabyte drive to do the process that you're seeing here. But we're going to want to copy that data back to the 5 terabyte drive so that we can have a 5 terabyte drive again. And again, this is only if you have to reset the drive. I would recommend against resetting the drive. Oh, one more thing to point out is some people will tell you you can reset a non-standard drive. They'll say, oh, I got my 4 terabyte or 5 terabyte to reset. Don't believe it for a minute. It's not something you can do. The reason being is the Xbox One only recognizes 500 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte drives. Everything else is an unknown thing to the Xbox One, and it will always try to make those drives back to those other sizes. As a result, you're going to get all sort of weird, strange behavior when it tries to do the reset. When you have a standard drive, you can reset it, you'll be fine. But non-standard drives, you cannot reset them without having to rebuild the drive again, more or less from scratch. Although if you have the update files, as you saw here, you can get back up and running pretty quickly. So we're going to go through this really quick. See if we have any updates. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to add my account here. Okay, we're back. Added my account. We use instant sign-in. Trying to get you to the Game Pass. Unfortunately, I already own most of the games in Game Pass, so there wouldn't be much of a value for it. For me, anyways. Alright. I always like to do energy saving as well. And I don't like doing any kind of auto updates. Okay, so after the reset, we've got our console back up and running again. The only issue being we're back down to our 2 terabyte storage on our 2 terabyte drive. But now we can use the process in my basically my going to 5 terabyte drive. So basically we take our working 2 terabyte drive, we hook it up to our Windows PC, or we can use the Linux method too, that's fine. And then we're going to copy everything from the 2 terabyte drive to the 5 terabyte drive, and then we're back up and running again. And essentially we're reset fully because now all the games and everything have been removed. The count that we just added will be there, but otherwise everything else would have been removed. So there you go. So that's where I'm going to leave it. So we got our system back up and running again. It's not necessarily the most convenient thing to do. I recommend again to not actually reset unless you absolutely have to. So yeah, that's basically it. I'll just show you just to show you that the store works here. Yeah, so you can see I'm connected to live. Let's see, let's do deals. Okay, yeah. There you go. All right, so you can see everything is, at least I'm still able to connect to the internet and everything, so everything's good to go. So there you have it. That's, can you reset your 5 terabyte drive? The answer is no, but you can recover it if you make a proper backup before you actually reset it, and then go through a few more steps of actually rebuilding the drive again. Alright, so there you go. That's it for this week, and hope you're looking forward to another video next week. Alright, thanks guys.